Here we go, round 4 of Pro Tour Theros. I'm Rashad Miller here with Brian David Marshall, and we're about to watch John Larkin versus Eric Phillips. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this matchup and why you are excited to see these guys play?
John Larkin is an Irish player, probably the most successful player from Ireland. He's playing red, and he's led off with a mountain and a Rakdos cackler. John Larkin, you may not, if you've been following Magic for like the last 10 years or so, you may have missed his career, but he has 3 Pro Tour top 8s.
That's right. We see right there.
120 career points, almost $50,000 in winnings, and he really was one of the game's best players at the height of his powers.
And he's fighting for the home team.
Yeah, he's from Ireland. Eric Phillips, you may remember seeing him a couple months back at this point, playing in Grand Prix Providence as that part of the winning team.
That's right. And Eric Phillips' play is a stopping ground, untapped into an Experiment 1, a card that we saw at the last Pro Tour do a lot of work.
Yeah. So Eric is on a Naya deck, and Rob is on mono red. He's on red deck wins, as befitting someone of his veteran.
Yeah, usually those red decks find a way to scrape a win here and there. So second play for John Larkin is going to be first to attack for 2 with the Rakdos Cackler. He played a Mutavault, and it looks like he has another Cackler, nothing really that he can play for 2. And there we go, a second Rakdos Cackler, assuming there's going to be an Unleash right there, so it's a 2-2.
And Mutavault means that this is not a Devotion deck, right? There's generally room for Mutavault or Nick the Shrine to Nyx.
Well, usually, definitely Mutavault does not increase to your Devotion, but I'm sure there are a lot of players that just want to get a Mutavault in their deck at no cost.
Let's take a look at what Eric Phillips is working with in hand here, while he weathers this flurry of Rakdos Cacklers.
He's got a pretty sweet hand. He's got a Boros Reckoner, a Domri Raid, a Gore-Clan Rampager, a Stormbreath Dragon, a hit from Theros, Selesnya Charm, and a Temple of Abandon, another card from the new Theros. A lot of thinking from Eric. Let's see if he can come up with a play here.
So here we see his land's going to come into play tapped at Temple of Abandon. Well.
Eventually, something's going to come into play. Oh, so that was a pass of the turn from Eric. So it's back to John Larson. He plays.
Oh, I'm sorry. He played the.
Okay. Yeah, he played a Mutavault, activated the Mutavault that was already in play. So this is an attack for 6, 2 Rakdos Cacklers and a Mutavault, and there is a Selesnya Charm. That Selesnya Charm is going to put a 2/2 Knight token into play, which is also going to evolve the Experiment 1. So now Eric Phillips has a couple of 2/2s that he can interact with John Larkin's team.
There we go.
A little bit of LD, you're thinking?
Think about.
That's what you hear Eric saying. I got to think about this.
Now, definitely, there's a lot of incentive to, take this opportunity to destroy a land, but Mutavault is a 2/2 that you need 1 mana to attack with, whereas those Cacklers aren't. So those Cacklers actually bite the dust because that's where the blocks happen. And there's a third Rakdos Cackler just to increase the pressure back to something from nothing for John Larkin.
Play Temple of Abandon.
Oh, there we go. Third land.
Yep, Temple of Abandon. That's a new card from Theros. It allows him to scry 1, keeps the card on top. Because it'll play tapped, but next turn he'll have access to green and red from that land to go along with his stomping ground and plains. 2 mana, and Eric Phillips plays a Voice of Resurgence. Another card that made a big impact on the metagames of multiple formats.
Yeah, it was in one of the cards in the winning deck from Proto Dragon's Maze.
So
right, Craig Wesco.
That card's been a lot of winning decks.
Creatures on my side.
Yeah.
I saw a draw from John Larkin. It looks like that was that a Chandra's?
He is playing Chandra's Phoenix.
Yeah, it looks like a Chandra's Phoenix. Just, remembering from all of the Duels of the Planeswalkers I've been playing. That's a card that makes it in almost all of the red decks that you have to play with.
So both these players 3-0'd their draft pods.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and now they're going to find out, how their play testing bore out for them. They're like, did I have the right read? Did I make the right sideboard?
So
Can I beat a Voice of Resurgence?
I'm sure these are all questions that they have at least asked themselves once. So Mutavault attacks with the Rakdos Cackler. So we got a couple of 2/2s running into a Voice of Resurgence, and Eric Phillips doesn't have any mana available, so there's not going to be any tricks. Block on the Rakdos Cackler, that's going to yield a trade and a 1/1 elemental token for Eric Phillips. So that's going to drop Eric down to 12. All right, get a good look at John's hand. Looks like he has a, is that a storm? I think that might be, I'm doing the, lean to the side. I thought I saw a lightning strike, but I wasn't sure. There is a Boros Reckoner for Eric Phillips and the pass of the turn.
So Eric Phillips, New York area player, playing for a long time. He also has a Pro Tour top 8, although it's juniors at Pro Tour Rye.
Hey, that counts. I wish I were playing Magic during all of the junior stuff so that I could had a head start on everyone else. A lot of value to playing Magic from, the age of 12.
How many cards have 3, 4?
Wow, we got a mono blue, like a tsunami of blue on the back table between Antoine Ruel and Timothy Simino. There's like 18 blue mana symbols.
That's together, right? Not one person.
That's together. I don't know how many waves are being mastered or not, but
sure
I imagine some will be.
Yeah, if not already, they will be.
Waves are confirmed by our weather reporter out in the feature match area.
Tsunami
Our surfing
incoming.
Expert.
I didn't realize Marshall Sutcliffe was a surfing expert.
He is.
He's got the body for it.
He took it up after the Supersonics left Seattle.
So a lot of thought going into this next play. Not a very good mana base for John Larkin, so he's going to use that is a lightning strike that he uses to kill the Boros Reckoner.
Chain lightning's it.
Yeah, I do 3 to it, you do 3 to me. That's fair, right?
Here we go. Let's take a look at what John's been thinking about here. He's been thinking about a second red source.
Yeah, he's thinking about all of these double red cards that he has in his hand that he can't play because of the double Mutavault. So a Gore Clan Rampager comes down for Eric Phillips, and John Larkin has to read it. It's like, it's a 4/4 for 4. That's already pretty sweet. But also tramples, which is a great ability.
And here we go. There's that mountain he's been looking for.
So finally, John Larkin can play some Magic. I mean, I'm a fan of the land-only decks where you attack with Mutavault-esque creatures, but sometimes you want to be able to cast the spells in your hand.
So Antoine Ruel's waves washed over Timothy Simino game 1. Swept him out to sea. he didn't have enough hair. To give him just the last amount of weight he needed to stay on shore.
So there we go, 3 mana, and that is Chandra's Phoenix. He's going to get in for 2, no hesitation.
Halfway to dead, 10 for
Yep,
Eric Phillips.
Is at 10, and despite John Larkin only having a couple of Mutavaults for a few turns, Eric Phillips is under a lot of pressure. He's not at a high life total, and John Larkin is sitting at a very healthy 17. I think this might be a Domri raid.
It is. I think we might have a fight.
That Domri raid, he's such a bully. Well, I guess he's not a bully. He's more of an instigator.
Yeah, he's a troublemaker.
Yeah, he's just a troublemaker.
Do you know what Chandra's Phoenix said about you?
Go get him, Gorehouse Rampager. Go Gore Clan.
He said you looked fat.
He said the Gore Clan sucked. So they actually do fight. Gore Clan Rampager picks a fight with a lowly 2/2 flyer. And it dies, but the Rampager doesn't attack in.
Right.
Now,
Eric's worried about his life total. He knows he's playing against a red deck. He's been playing for a long time. He knows that, he doesn't know what kind of, flurry of burn spells that John might unleash against him.
right. And any burn spell is going to bring that Chandra's Phoenix back into John Larkin's hand, which is another potential 2 damage on top of whatever damage that burn spell actually did. John Larkin's looking at, looks like he has an Ash Zealot, Burning Tree Emissary, and another Lightning Strike to go along with his Mutavault. He's probably trying to decide How many of these 2/2s he wants to play? I don't know. Is there any reason for him not to just lay all of his creatures out onto the battlefield?
Well, he gets he's sort of limited in how much red he has available.
That is true. Well, he can go red into Burning Tree Emissary, get red into Ash Zealot, and then not play any other spells. Or he can use the Lightning Strike to either deal with, a Domri or or the token. He can actually deal with the Elemental token as well. Now, Lightning Strike to the Dome would get him a Chandra's Phoenix back to his hand. And I believe, does Chandra's Phoenix also trigger when you deal damage to a Planeswalker with instant or sorcery? Can we get Chandra's Phoenix up to see what that guy says? Right, so this is obviously a big decision for John Larkin, and he's going to pass the turn. So it looks like he's not going to be playing either of those creatures, and the play is to use Lightning Strike for something or another.
Use Dommer's first ability? Yeah.
Okay, so it's a spell, or if a Planeswalker deals damage to an opponent. So I knew there was Planeswalker in there somewhere, but the Lightning Strike would have to go to the Dome in order for the Chandra's Phoenix to be returned to John Larkin's hand. So he passed the turn, has 5 mana up, 3 of them Mutavaults, so not a lot of red spells going to be able to be cast, in one turn. And Eric Phillips taps 2 mana and plays a Fleece Mane Lion.
Yeah, that's one of the new cards from Theros. This card is, my experience with it has been largely in limited. I can tell you it is nigh unbeatable in that format.
Hey, I remember when Watchwolf, was a card, when it first became a card, and, a 3/3 for 2 was kind of unprecedented at that time.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, this is crazy.
How about a 4/4 hexproof indestructible?
Well, that's just not, it's fun for one person.
Yeah.
But it's really not fair.
It really is. It really is. It doesn't seem like it should be fun even for you, but it is.
I'd have fun. So Lightning Strike is going to the Dome. Doesn't look like it's going to be redirected to the Domri raid, so the Chandra's Phoenix does come back. That gives him a flyer. And that might be all John Larkin needs to close out these last 7 damage. I don't know if Eric Phillips has a way to deal with the flyer in this deck other than Domri raid.
Well, he can fight.
Yeah,
you can also kill it with the Chandra's Phoenix.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. Even though the Phoenix died and was reborn, I think it still remembers that Domri Ray started that fight.
Of course, what we know is that Eric Phillips has reinforcements.
Oh man, Stormbreath Dragon. And a couple of more Domri Raids, but I don't know. Is Domri Raid a little too slow right now? Does he have time to replenish his Domri Raids, or does he just need to draw a 5th land and, play a 5/5 flyer? Mm-hmm.
There goes a Burning Tree Emissary. So he's got red-green in his mana pool.
Yep, red-green floating from the Enter the Battlefield ability of the Burning Tree Emissary. And with that red and a green, he's going to tap another mountain and play Chandra's Phoenix. Has 1 card left in his hand. We both know that it is a Ash Zealot. And Chandra's Phoenix is attacking, I assume, Domri Raid. And he pointed kind of maybe over Domri Raid to Eric Phillips, but we'll see. We'll find out exactly what has been attacked. Looks like John's actually still thinking about it.
Right. Interesting. Eric's kept that Gorkling Rampager back. Perhaps knowing Ash Zealot is a staple of this format.
Mm-hmm.
And, not a card he can easily deal with his other creatures.
Right. And, any creature with haste is, it just represents another direct damage, quote-unquote, to Eric's already low life total. So he is definitely in full defensive mode as Eric does get his 5th land. It's in the form of a Temple of Triumph, so no Stormbreath Dragon just yet. But this might be the chance for him to play one of his 2 Domri Raids in order to, pick another fight. Now, how defensive can Eric actually play right now? Because he's playing against a mono red deck, and I'm sure John Larkin's deck has 7 points of direct damage in the rest of the cards in this library. So how much longer can he wait before he just has to start attacking with either a 4/4 or 3/3?
Would you have been tempted to get in there with, your Chargers Phoenix and just attack Eric down to 5 and let him burn his Domri Raid to kill your Chargers Phoenix?
I probably wouldn't have unless I had another burn spell in order to get my Chargers Phoenix back, in which case I would have done that because the burn spell would have gone to the dome and I would have got the Chargers Phoenix back again. But, without having any other real impacting cards in his hand, Ash Zealot, it's fine if Eric ever decides to go on the offense and doesn't leave enough blockers back. But without having the direct damage in his hand, you really don't want to just throw away your Phoenix right there. You want to try to get, you want to ride it to victory, even though that would probably burn, riding a Phoenix because it's a Firebird. You're not laughing.
I gotcha.
I don't think you got it. I'll explain that joke to you later.
Yeah, just tell me when you're joking.
That was pretty serious. So, so Eric Phillips actually does the +1 on Domri Raid, and he looks at the card, and it wasn't a creature because he put it right back down. We don't know what it is, but now he has 6 mana available.
And Stormbreath Dragon cannot be far away. Another new card.
Yep. Stormbreath Dragon it's a 5/5. It has haste. It also has protection from white. Also flies because it's a dragon, and it is a monstrosity. Get a look at it right there. The cards in hand trigger on the monstrosity probably not a big relevance here, but it becoming a 7/7 is probably pretty sweet.
Elemental tokens rumbling in with the Gore Clan Rampager.
It's like,
finally time.
Is it time? Yeah.
Stormbreath Dragon respecting the Chargers Phoenix, saying, I'm just going to chill here.
Yeah.
See if she shows up again looking for a little revenge.
I mean,
you know how those bar fights can escalate.
Yeah, I mean, that Chargers Phoenix, it's a feisty one. You can't see it, but John Larkin is just kind of slouched back in his chair. The red decks don't really want to be in this situation where, there's a bunch of 4/4s and bigger, attacking. If the 4/4s will stand back, you're fine with that.
Yeah.
Once they start
attacking, it gets a little different. Oh, boy.
So he drew a mountain. He's been needing a mountain for a while, but he also has a Fanatic of Mogus. Probably the reach that he needs. He has enough mana to play both of those cards. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 devotion. That's 5 damage right there.
Yeah.
He's pretty close. This is when John Larkin tries to see if he could squeeze some 2 damage in any way. But I don't know that that's a possibility right now because he's facing lethal.
Not with a 3/3 and a 4/4. He's like, okay.
So there's Ash Zealot. And you just have to assume that if the Fanatic comes down, you kind of give up that you have nothing else. And is John Larkin's only chance to win this game I guess I don't have to finish that sentence because the Fanatic of Mogus actually comes down, and that's going to be 5 damage to either Eric Phillips or to the Domri Raid. And it looks like Eric's going to go down to 2.
And obviously, it's a different game if he doesn't attack Domri Raid, but that is 2 damage.
It is true, except that Domri Raid would have been able to pick another fight, and then another one would come down and draw a card. It's definitely mathematically, he would have been at 0, but I think it was the right thing to do in order just to try to get that inherent value without throwing your creature away.
Yeah. I'm going to fight.
So Domri Raid's going to pick another fight. And it's going to take out probably one of these 2/2s, the first striking one. And now Eric Phillips has a 4/4 Trampler and a 4/4 Flyer, and that damage is probably enough to be lethal. And there's another Domri Raid, and there's probably another fight that's got to be picked. And then there's only going to be one blocker. That has to be lethal. Everyone attacks, and John Larkin can't activate that Mutavault. He has only 1 land, which is Mutavault. Is that going to?
Yeah.
Yep. The block scoop. All right. So a nice turnaround of that game from Eric Phillips to lead 1-0 over John Larkin.
So your pace of play in that game was
We'd like to thank Gaming Etc. for being an official card retailer here at Pro Tour Theros. Use promo code Dublin when ordering on gamingecc.com to earn 10% off all singles and accessories. For more information, visit gamingecc.com.
So yeah, we got a couple of we got at least one result. David Kaplan, who's also playing a mono red deck, defeated David Ochoa, who's apparently also playing a mono red deck. 2-0, I believe.
I believe that is correct.
Yeah, and then did we get a final result on the French matchup?
I believe I think it's 2-1 Ruel. That might be over, or it's either 1-1. Can we actually get that confirmed, Mr. Marshall Sutcliffe? And while we get that information, even though any big creature would have done the job for Eric Phillips,
yeah,
it was really a Storm Breath Dragon that did it. Let's take a look at that card because it is a sweet one. It's a mythic rare.
Yeah, it's one of the big creatures from Theros that's gonna be a part of standard for a while. It kind of replaces.
And what a monstrosity it is! It's a hasty 4-power flyer for 5 mana, which is that's upside.
Right.
Usually I'm fine with a 4-power flyer for 5 without any abilities.
Right, and importantly, you can play it, attack, and generally kill a planeswalker.
Yeah. That's always a big deal. The monstrosity ability is well positioned, and it deals with Sphinx's Revelations, which no one really wants to have to deal with. And the protection from white and helps you against the
like
blue-based
Detention
deck.
Sphere,
Yeah.
Azorius Charm, things like that.
Yeah,
Chain to Rocks.
Didn't think about that one. I guess you really can't chain a Stormbreath Dragon to a rock.
No. It'll just take the rock with you.
Yeah, it just flies away. And then do you lose that mountain? Is that
You
how
do,
it works? In the Flavor Pro Tour, which I'm sure is coming up soon, the mountain just flies away with the Stormbreath Dragon. And the blue removal spell don't really deal with the dragon. It puts it back in your hand. And then it has haste. So it's really, really well positioned to deal with control decks and to give red decks a way to compete. And there you get, that's a great view of what you would see if you were here in Dublin with us.
The Royal Dublin Society. If you're listening within Ireland, you're welcome to come on down and visit. It's open to the public.
Open to the public. Come down, watch your favorite Magic player, get a playmat signed, a card signed, shake a few hands, tell people how much you love them.
John Larkin.
Yep,
Yeah.
John Larkin. All of John Larkin's friends, come on down. Family.
So, more than 400 players in attendance for this Pro Tour. Pretty big.
One of the bigger ones, not the biggest,
ones.
but
No.
it's definitely a big one, especially with the.
Lots of silver players, Mox players.
Yeah.
A couple of Grand Prix Las Vegas.
Yes, Grand Prix Las Vegas qualified a lot of players for this Pro Tour. And it looks like Bram Snapvangers and Joel Larson are headed to a Game 3. See if we can find out exactly what those guys are playing. All right, so these players right here are shuffling up.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's black-white control versus mono blue. I believe I heard that Joe Larson was on the Master of Waves plan. He definitely looks like a surfer. Not while surfing, but on his off days.
I gotta tell you, I'm pretty excited to see Frostborn Weird getting played in standard.
Hey, I like.
It's on 3 or 4 tables in the feature match area right now.
A 1/4 for 2 is just ridiculous.
Yeah, and it has that extra ability of colored.
Being a 4/1 for 2 instead.
Well, I just meant it had blue.
Oh yeah,
or
it does have the
so
I'm devoted to you and you.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
Frostborn Weird, Boris Reckoner, Fanatic.
Some of these gods are pretty understanding. To like a Frostborn Weird. How can you love me? Thassa's is like, how can you love me and Perforos? That just doesn't make sense, Mr. Weird. That is weird.
That's why he's so weird.
Yeah, he just
they
says,
knew that was coming.
I know. He just points to the nameplate.
Yeah. It's not you. It's me.
Yeah. It's not Frostborn makes sense.
Yeah. You're really looking to head judge this flavor Pro Tour, aren't you?
Well, I didn't think I was very good at it, but it seems like I understand it very well. So maybe I should, or at least be, an executive producer or some
Sure.
sort, some type of special advisory position. Right. So Mr. Larkin's going down to 6 cards. He didn't like his.
It looks
first
like
5.
his opening hand was like 4 mountains, 2 lightning strikes, and a burning tree emissary, and he sent that back.
Well, now he has 4 mountains, a Mizium Mortars, and 1 card.
It looked like a Firefish Striker.
Is that a Firefish Striker? That guy isn't very devoted to Perforos, but he has other jobs.
Yeah, he's half in.
He's
Got
like,
1 foot out the door.
Yeah, I kind of like him, but who knows what's going to happen. All right, so we have a mountain facing down a temple of
Abandon.
Abandon. And there is that Firefish Striker for John Larkin. First play of the game. Eric Phillips is doing his best Dragon's Maze impression, Maze's End impression by playing 2 come to play tap lands. And he's finally able to play a 1-drop in the form of Experiment 1.
We see a Chandra's Phoenix join John's team.
A welcome addition.
Yep.
And it attacks for 2. That's going to bring Eric Phillips down to 18. And not only does it attack for 2, but that is 2 red devotion extra for Mr. John Larkin. 3 mana, and there is a...
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. Is that a...
Flames of the Firebrand.
Yeah, Flames of the Firebrand. It's going to split that damage 2 and 1. That's going to clear John Larkin's board and also clear the way for the Experiment 1. That's going to bring John Larkin down to 19. He has an empty board, 3 mountains. He's looking at a couple of more mountains, the Mizium Mortars, and there is a Rakdos Cackler that just came down with a +1/+1 counter.
You see, John is... Larkin's kind of out of gas here. Oh, he does still have that Mizium Mortars, which can level the playing field.
Yeah, I mean, he's out of gas, but he could also empty Eric Phillips' gas tank as well as the Boros Reckoner comes down, which, has a little bit, has something to say about that Mizium Mortars. But that's going to evolve the Experiment 1 to a 2/2, and it's going to attack, and that's going to bring John Larkin down to 17, I believe.
Yeah, this is not the way. This is not the way Red Deck wins. No. Right. It just isn't. This isn't. This hasn't. He mulliganed. He didn't feel comfortable going down to 5.
Right. And he drew a hand that contained a card that did not deal damage to his opponent, which, maybe in this matchup, as John Larkin plays a 5th mountain, maybe he's decided that he needs to be the control deck, and, he needs to have more cards like Mizium Mortars to be able to clear the way, play a little bit more, slow the game down a little bit, be a little bit less aggressive, and win the mid-game with, a clear board and some devoted creatures.
Right. Mizium Mortars is a sideboard card for him. Card in the sideboard of Eric Phillips' deck that may have come in is could be an unflinching Courage, which would be pretty tough for the red deck to deal with traditionally.
If that card is in the sideboard for anything, it's definitely for the mono red matchup. So we had a play from, it looks like it was just a land from Eric Phillips, and his follow-up, he's tapping a Plains, a Forest, and a Temple of Abandon. And that is a Loxodon Smiter, and that is a big boy if I ever saw one, a 4/4 for 3 mana.
Sounds like Antoine Ruel, the Hall of Famer, has won 2 games to 1 over World Magic Cup champion Timothy Semino.
Yeah, it's good to see Antoine come back and play some games. He's one of my favorites.
Here's a Mizium Mortars.
There is the Mizium Mortars overloaded. It's going to...
It kills all the creatures.
Yeah, basically just a Wrath of God-ish because...
almost all the creatures. Yeah, yes. He regenerates the Experiment 1.
That's right. Experiment 1 did evolve one more time before then, and now it's back down to a 1/1 because the 2 counters were removed to regenerate. And there's a Boros Reckoner to accompany that Experiment 1. So it's back up to 2/2. It attacks. John Larkin's going to go down to 15. John Larkin's looking at a couple of cards, 6 mountains, and...
Is there a more awkward dance partner than Fire Drinker Cedar and Boros Reckoner?
Come on, we could do this together. Like, we're both just going to do our own things, which is try not to block. So we do have, and actually this is the Rakdos Cackler of shame. This is a 1/1 Rakdos Cackler, so it can block, and it's very, very, very shameful, that Rakdos Cackler. And now it looks like a...
this is just the dream here with Dominaid. Fight, deals... Oh, he's waiting to see if he pumps it.
Well, either way, there's going to be some damage in the form of the trigger of this satyr.
The proverbial bloodbath waiting to happen.
Does first strike matter when they fight? It does not.
Yeah, so Fire Drinker's satyr says, you know, if you're familiar with Jackal Pup, it's a Jackal Pup with fire breathing. But oh my, we have a Selesnya charm on the Boros Recorder, which fought the Fire Drinker Satyr, which is going to deal 5 damage to it, also 5 damage to John Larkin. The Satyr's going to deal its 3 damage to the Recorder. That's going to get redirected possibly to John Larkin, and you know it doesn't matter what actually happened. John Larkin's done. He knew this game was over. There's no way a red deck's coming back from that.
I think quite a few errors and not too happy about it.
Are you ready for the next step in the hero's path? Come to Theros Game Day on October 19th and 20th and put yourself to the test in the Face the Hydra Challenge. For more information, visit wizards.com/magicgameday. I really want to face the Hydra.
Yeah.
Do you get? I know you get to face the Hydra at Game Day, as we are looking at Brom Snapfinger, Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer, Brom Snapfinger.
Versus Joel Larson.
Yeah, Pro Tour finalist Joel Larson.
Yeah, Pro Tour finalist? Or quarterfinal, semifinalist. I think semifinalist.
I thought he was in the finals against Martel.
Well,
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. But
sounds like it's going to take another cup of coffee.
Yeah. I'm a little bit parched, but a judge's familiar. I'm just going to give you guys, we are early in Game 3. We have a judge's familiar over for Joel Larson. He has a Lonely Island along with it. And Brom has a couple of land, no other permanents. He has a grip of 6 cards. And I don't know that he is at 4 life right now. That would be amazing if that... If we are 16 turns into the game.
It's 1916. While Joel looks at Brom's hand, let's take a look at Brom Snapfinger's career achievements. He's 37. He's one of the older players on the Pro Tour. He's been playing since the very beginning. 341 career pro points, almost $120,000 in earnings, 4 top 8s, and 8 top 8s at the Grand Prix level. And, wins more than half his matches, which is tough to do when you're talking about over, 17 years, 18 years of Magic.
Dude, I'm fine with just being a coin flip when I sit down at a match, as long as I'm just not the dog there. But so we get a good look at Brom's hand, and he has a couple of 6/6 for 4 with Desecration Demon and an Alms Beast. That has to be out of the sideboard. He also has a Swamp, a Plains, a Hero's Demise, and an Underworld Connections.
So Joel Larson is playing one of the more exciting decks. I don't know, if you guys fantasy draft cards back at where you are, but if you picked Gale Rider Sliver as one of the cards to show up in a feature match today, you would have been correct, because Joel Larson is playing 8 1-drops in his blue deck. I mean, 12.
No. Yeah.
He's playing 12.
Yeah,
he's playing 12.
Eight isn't enough.
Yeah, Judge's Familiar, Gal Rider Sliver, and Cloudfin Raptor.
He has all of the the blue flyers, that cost 1 converted mana cost.
What's really great to do with those little tiny flyers?
I want to draw some cards.
Arm them with forks.
Oh. Well, it's not really a fork. It's
like a Nathan's fork for the French fries, the Biden.
It's like an olive fork. I
guess.
An
olive fork. Yeah.
It's an olive fork. All right, so we did see a Gale Rider Sliver come down, and here.
Cocktail fork.
So Hero's Demise takes out the Judge's Familiar.
Well, actually, the Judge's Familiar took out the Hero's Downfall.
There you go.
He countered it.
There you go. Small victories, but that Gale Rider Sliver still tells the tale as it attacks Brom down to 18. Third land, and that is a Thassa, God of the Sea.
Yeah, take a look at the cards in Joel's hand here. Watergrave Duress Negate. Pretty good hand to have against the control deck.
Yeah, it's very good. Although I'm sure he would love to have a better threat density on board before those cards. But, you know, you got to take what you can get.
And he's going to start digging through his ripping through his library here with the Thassi. Gets to scry every turn on its upkeep.
Yeah. That's one of the better parts of Thasagata to see. Braum Snapfingers plays a Alms Beast with his 4th mana. And he passes the turn, so now he has a 6/6 attacker / blocker with not a real big downside in this matchup, I would think.
Yeah, I don't think you worry about giving lifelink to the Galrider Sliver.
Yeah. You can gain your 1 life. I guess technically you gain a 7 life because you did block, but that's not what it's all about. Eventually that Alms Beast is going to make its way through. So we got a spell from Joel Larson. It looks like it's a duress.
Yeah, he duresses. He sees Underworld Dreams, Obsidian, Ghost Council, and
Devour Flesh.
Devour Flesh.
I would think that Underworld Connections just has to go.
Sure.
The Devour Flesh is going to kill a 1/1. And you can't target the Obsidat, so. The only other thing that I could think is if Joel really thinks he's going to get Devotion of 5 really fast and he wants to be able to protect his, well.
He does take the Devour Flesh, and he can sit on his negate for
the Underworld Connections.
For the Underworld Connections.
I guess he is maximizing the spells that he has in his hand with that play. So Galrider Sliver comes in for 1. That's going to bring Braum down to 17. Not a fast clock, but right now as far as card quality goes, Joel Larson is going to be getting better cards because of his scry every turn.
Better cards than the Ghost Council and the Underworld Connections?
Well, not than those. We're just talking about the top of the deck. There's still a negate in Joel Larson's hand, and eventually I'm sure he has to have some way to deal with a Obsidat. And I say that and cringe a little bit because there aren't a lot of ways to deal with the Obsidat, but fingers crossed. Alms Beast comes in. Joel Larson's going to take 6. And we'd have to imagine that with this swamp that's coming down, we're going to see Obsidat hit the battlefield. But no, it's going to be Underworld Connections. And there is a negate that Joel Larson was
I think that's
on.
what Joel Larson really wanted to happen.
Mm-hmm. But if you're Braum, do you think that there has to be some answer for the Underworld Connections if the Devour Flesh is the card that gets the rest away? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows?
Looks like Joel just drew possibly a Tidebinder Mage?
Might be. A very good double blue devoted card. So Mutavault is actually going to join in this attack, and it flies. Remember that, because it is a sliver when you activate it, so it attacks for 3. And
that's pretty sweet.
That is the Tidebinder Mage that comes down.
Pretty sweet little synergy. So Tidebinder Mage just for devotion. It does, it almost feels like a card you would side out here.
Maybe, but it's still a 2/2.
But it's got the blue and the casting cost.
It's essential. It's part of the plan.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Oh, I think he actually tried to tap the Alms Beast with it, and Braum,
the
being I believe he is still a level 3 judge.
Yep.
To let him know that that's not the way, that's not the way red or green creatures look. They don't look like Alms Beast. So Braum picked up a Doomblade, so he's actually looking to be in control.
Yeah, I mean he's got a Joel within 2 attacks here.
Does look at Braum. Does look at Joel. He definitely looks worried.
It's been pointed out that Braum is now a level 2 judge.
Oh, he's now a level 2 judge?
Yeah.
That happens.
Chris Lansdale, keeping it real for the judges.
That's why I don't claim, to be a judge anymore.
You're not a judge scientist?
I am not a judge scientist at all. All right, so there's the block.
Gets up to 12.
He does gain 2 life because Alms Beast gives all creatures blocking it lifelink. And there is Obsidat.
Oh, boy.
It's going to bring Joel Larson back down to 10. It's going to go away. He'll be back at the beginning of Braum's next upkeep. And he's going to have haste. And he's going to make Joel Larson lose another 2 life. After Scry, Joel Larson picks up a Frostborn Weird.
which leaves him just a little shy of devotion.
Even with devotion, does he? I guess with devotion, he has a blocker
Yeah.
for the alms
An
beast.
indestructible.
Yeah. Which would gain lifelink each time it blocked.
Yeah.
But there's still a Doomblade in Brom's hand, so Joe Larson is effectively.
Why does it have to be so hard?
He's effectively 3 devotion away from actually getting his thoughts online.
It's so hard, Joel, that it might actually just be impossible.
Yeah, that's he thinks it's hard without even knowing what that last card in Brom's hand is.
Right.
So there's the Frostborn weird.
You got to get in. Do you got to get in for 3 here?
It depends on how maybe you get in for 2.
But you know the Ghost Council's coming.
Yeah, Ghost Council's coming back. You really don't have a way to interact
Yeah.
with that other than throwing a creature in the way. So he's going to get in for 1. Does Joel have a card in his hand? He doesn't have a card in his hand.
No, Joel's out. Joel's blank. That's the
Yep.
cards in Joel's hand right there.
Seems like an attack with the Mutavault might have been a little bit better, and then chump block with the Gale Rider Sliver, unless he really wants to gain 2 life instead of 1 from the Alms
quite
Alms
possibly.
Beast.
There's Doomblade.
Yep, Doomblade always gets his man. There's an attack for 11, and the Mutavault is going to jump it away to Alms Beast. That's with a gain of 2 life. It's going to bring him up to 10 and then back down to 5.
Scry that away. What's it going to be?
They're not going to deck.
There's something.
Does he have cards that good in his deck? Gale Rider Sliver is not one of them if he did. So there we have it. Brom Snapvanger wins 2-1.
Black-white control.
Yeah, I'm in.
The Orzhov Syndicate going to work.
Without actually,
Be a shame. Be a shame if something happened to your nice little beach community.
You know, they gave up the whole extortion ring, and you know we're just going to do it the easy way. You know, we had some big alms beasts, and you know, doom blades, and draw some cards. Here we go. Welcome back to Boot for Rashad Miller, Brian David Marshall. So in a second, we're going to have an interview, I believe. We're going to talk with the winner of that match. But up until then, let's talk a little bit about these Gale Rider Slivers, because I really want to I really want to play Slivers in any format that it's actually playable in.
To be fair, you went as soon as you saw M14, you were talking about Gale Rider.
Yeah, you know,
Sliver.
it's the Sliver decks needed a real 1-drop, because usually all of the 1-drops are like all metallic Sliver. It's just a Sliver that doesn't do anything. Or the best one was Virulent Sliver. That was the one that actually gave all Slivers poison. But then everything else is like Screeching Sliver, Mind/Sliver. I know a lot of Slivers. I don't know if you all are type it up and gather to see if these are actually Slivers, but for some reason I know them all. And the Sliver deck never really had this trump card just to make all the creatures fly, except for Winged Sliver?
Winged Sliver, yeah.
Which,
was 2 mana.
Just didn't get reprinted.
Yeah.
It was 2 mana. It was still good enough. But this is Winged Sliver for 1 mana. It fits right in the curve. And that just made me want to play more Slivers.
Yeah, you've been talking about this as like a modern deck.
Well, I tried to build a couple modern Sliver decks. I really didn't. I'll build something, I'll play it. And there's like 12 different ways you could build a Sliver deck. Trust me. There's 12 different ways you could do this.
Did you get all virulent?
I tried that once. I tried just all the muscle slivers and sledge sliver. I tried just the mana thing. I tried draw out a bunch of cards.
So one of the important things to me, by the way, just while we're talking about Gale Rider Sliver, is this is the first standard event for Theros.
It is.
At the Pro Tour, but this is also like the first major Pro Tour event for Magic 2014.
Yeah, I guess it is.
We haven't really seen these cards.
I'm trying to think if there was
There's been Grand Prix, there've been Opens, but at the very pinnacle of the competitive Magic scene, we haven't had a chance to see. People find a way to use, say, a Gale Rider Sliver or some of the other Slivers maybe in this format.
Yeah, especially with it having its time to shine, I would say, M14, because once you lose all of Innistrad block, you're kind of you're not working with a lot. Right. So M14 becomes that much better.
And it opened up a lot of cards from Gatecrash, which we just saw Brom Stepfanger's playing with. Yeah. And I think Marshall Sutcliffe's ready on the floor to give us an interview with the Hall of Famer and talk about his Orzhov control deck.
All right, so enough for us. Let's listen to see what those guys have to say. Take it away, Marshall.
Hey guys, Marshall Sutcliffe down here in the feature match area, and I have with me the winner of that last match, Bram Snapfangers. Now, Bram, you're already in the Hall of Fame. And we had a Hall of Fame induction ceremony earlier today. Did you get a chance to watch it?
No, not really. I've been busy playing today.
Yeah, we had it before the tournament started. But how's things been going for you overall for the tournament?
Fine. I'm 3-1 now. Pretty confident about my deck, so yeah, I'm good.
Can you tell us a little bit about your deck? We noticed that it was a black-white. Would you call it a control, a mid-range? How would you describe it?
It's mid-range since it takes the control role against the aggressive decks and takes the aggressive role against the control decks.
Okay. What's the main card that you use to be aggressive? We saw an Alms Beast. Is that a sideboard or a main deck card?
Alms Beast is main deck, but I've one in the sideboards as an additional, since it's a lot bigger than most of the creatures the aggressive decks use and still pretty cheap.
Okay. And what's the best card in the deck?
Thoughtseize, probably.
Yeah, I figured it was that or Obsidian, because Obsidian did some work for you there.
Yeah, Obsidian is pretty good, but not that important to this matchup I just played.
Well, thanks a lot, Bram. Good luck, and hopefully you keep the winning ways going.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, I'm Marshall Sutcliffe signing off from down here in the Tournament Center.
So Thoughtseize over Obsidian? If they were in the same pack somehow.
The same, like some standard draft.
Oh, we're cube drafting. We're cubing, last week on Magic Online. Same pack. And for some reason, all of the cards are really bad. For some reason.
I probably take Thoughtseize.
You probably take Thoughtseize? One's really, well, I might take the Thoughtseize too. It pushes me in some crazy decks. But, enough for us. We're going to talk more about Cube after you guys are gone.
We're going to also talk more about Gale Rider Sliver in our modern deck. We're going to get brewing.
Yeah, our Sliver Cube is what we're going to talk about. So we're going to send it back to the news desk. I believe it's Richard Hagan, but I guess you guys will find out.
He believes it's me. It turns out it is me. Well done, Rashad. Yeah, I basically live under the desk between Pro Tours. That's how it works, more or less. That's why you never see me on GP coverage anymore. So let me give you some results coming out of round 4. They go like this. Sam Black is a 2-0 winner over Madison Jonas. Marcelo Mazzolino, great story here. This is an Italian PTQ winner. Playing in his first Pro Tour, he has defeated Patrick Chapin, the innovator, to go to 4-0. Jeremy Desani on the left there, he's gone to 4-0 at the expense of Ken Yukihiro, who's a terrific Japanese pro himself. Paul Rietzel, he is 4-0 at the expense of Till Riffert of Germany. Louis Scott Vargas inducted into the Hall of Fame today, and now 4-0 thanks to a win 2-1 over Alex Sittner, as he's sometimes known. Owen Turtenwald, 4-0. Your number 16 ranked pro, you see it on the right of your screen. He's defeated Alex John by 2-0. A tremendous matchup. How about this? We didn't even get them, one of them at least, on our scoreboard. Ola Rada, 4-0. Who did he beat in round 4? Frank Karsten, no less, from Team Channel Fireball. A Hall of Fame matchup for that one. Now, I wanted to take a moment to congratulate Luke Southworth of England. He is at his first Pro Tour. He's just played Stephen Murray of Scotland. They were both at 3-0. Luke Southworthy advances to go to 4-0, so congratulations to him. Mikkel Bund of Denmark, 2-1 over Jacob van Lunen. Joel Larson, you've just seen lose to Bram Snetvangers. Makahita Mahara, 2006 world champion. He's defeated Sami Hegfist of Finland. Lucas Tajak has put an end to Craig Wesco's undefeated run that goes way back into the last Pro Tour, when, of course, Craig Wesco is your defending Pro Tour champion. You've seen Phillips beat Larkin. Dave Kaplan defeated David Ochoa, the number 13 ranked player. And Antoine Ruel is still going at 4-0 over Timothée Simoneau of France. So that's just some of the big matchups coming in. We're closing in on the end of the round, but we started talking with Ian Duke earlier on about our pillars of standard. So what we want to do now is start showing you deck techs that kind of showcase the baseline of what you can expect at your FNM, at your next big standard event. And we're going to begin with Ireland's finest, John Larkin. I'm going to send you over to the wall now, and it's Mr. Zach Hill for our first deck tech of Pro Tour Theros 2013.